but I do feel very close to him, and it's, as I said, so there'll be some sad bits in the show, and it's fine. People go, oh, I'm crying, I said, so was I. It's, you know, I try and get to this one song of the show where I go, don't do it, you know, look like a big baby. And I'm like, biting my lip every time we come to the song. It's just words and things and how the crowd are getting reacted. So, but there's some funny bits. You'll laugh. Starts off in the second part, and hopefully just enjoy and go home being satisfied and that you've had a really good time. We're not trying to replace it. We're not trying to do anything like that. I just want to pay my homage to my dad, who gave me a gift, and if it makes me feel, you know, closer to him while he's gone, and I want to do it while people are still coming. So thank you very much.
Rock and roll, Billy. Hanging on my wall. Love your dad.
Thank you.
BackstageAxxess.com. We're here with drummer extraordinaire who wears many hi-hats, Jason Bonham. How you doing, man?
Very good, thank you.
We're here in Hamilton, Ontario. Jason's doing a huge tour representing his dad's music, playing music of Led Zeppelin, and he's getting ready to take the stage. So we're going to be doing a quick interview because he was so gracious enough to talk to us. First question I have for you, Jason: how did the idea come to celebrate your dad's music and you know, and put together this project?
Well, after the 2007 reunion show I did it with the guys, which was fantastic. I carried on working with Jimmy and John Paul for about a year, writing for new material for possibly a new project. Unfortunately, that kind of didn't evolve into anything else, but then I kind of, it was in a bit of a slump. I kind of really didn't know what I was going to do. And people were constantly always saying, well, why don't you do this? You know, and I'm like, you know what, I really don't see myself doing that. And it wasn't until the fact that I went to see the show, I said, listen, okay, the people that backed the Anarin, that backed me on this, they said, well, before you say no, just go and see it. So I went out of courtesy. I went and saw their show. And then I started, the brain started to tick away, and it was like, well, maybe I could do, if I can do it this way, if I can change this, if I can make it a bit more of a personal thing. I didn't want to just go out and play the Led Zeppelin music. There's a million bands going out there and doing it, and they're doing it well. So I wanted more. I wanted to make it more of a personal thing. So, and it just really has written itself every day from over a year ago now, that we started thinking about how we were going to do it, what we were going to do. Down to an hour before we went on in the first gig, I changed the set completely around, redid all the interludes, changed the voiceovers, cancelled one, decided really riding by the seat of the pants. And then they said, well, what about the middle section? What are you going to do? And I said, I'll just wing it, okay? And they're not used to winging it, so they were a bit nervous. As I said, it's gone every night now, and it just seems to write itself. It's, if ever I doubted to do this, it got washed away really first night, and second night even more so, and third night even more so. The fans just got better, more and more and more, and the word's getting out. They come and they go. I always say, come to the show with an open mind, and if I can make, when you leave, you go, I did not expect that, then I've done my job. So far, I've done that, and that's been great.
You mentioned in a past interview that, you know, you miss your dad more than ever today, and that's kind of why you're doing this. And this is a satisfying tour for you to share the stage with the spirit of your dad in a unique concert setting. You know, explain this, you know, how the feeling, the emotional feeling behind this.
Well, I was talking about this earlier on to a friend of mine, and it's funny, when I play with the guys, when I play with Jimmy and John Paul and Robert, I really enjoy it, and one of the reasons is because I feel closer to my dad when I'm with them. So when I'm playing the music also, it's another, especially on these shows and the emotion and the screens and the images, and it's a real moment where I actually do feel connected and feel like for one of those moments that you're going, I can feel it, you know, and it's bizarre, I was never into that, but I kind of, at night you get these kind of feelings that, I feel closer to him than I've ever been. So it definitely helps in some form or way of, you know, so somebody said to me, you know, you've been talking about your dad for 30 years now since he's gone. I said, yeah, and I'll talk about him for another 30. Or as long as I breathe, you know, I lost him at an age where he was so impressionable to me that I didn't get to the adolescence where we started to argue with each other and like, I hate you, I think Stuart Copeland's better, you know, Neil Peart beats your ass, you know. We didn't get to that stage. So, I mean, we probably would have butted heads on a load of musical things. I can just imagine it, you know. How can you not? I'd have been growing up in 1982. What would I be playing to my dad when I was 16? You know, what was going to be in the charts then in England for me to go, you know? He knew, I mean, he took me, actually. He knew I'd just gone into music, which he loved. And he took me to see the Police. And he was really impressed with them. He thought they were very cool. So I got to go to one concert with him. And he had me on his shoulders so I could see. And I was 13, and I wasn't a small 13-year-old. So, bless him.
How did you put this band together? Talk about the guys and, you know, how they all came together.
The guitarist, Tony Gattagna, has been a friend of mine for about 20 years. So I did something a little while back called In the Name of My Father, which was a bit of fun. And I liked the way Tony played, and I liked the way he did. His knowledge of the Zeppelin stuff was very, very vast. You know, there isn't one you kind of say to him, do you know this? He's like, yep, I mean, just run over it quickly, and he knows it. So that was like a real valuable point to have a guy that was kind of knowledgeable with the music. And then I had a bass player, and then it didn't work out. There was some other issues that happened. But when I found James, I really didn't. I found him on the internet, which is the strangest thing, where one of those, you know, one of those nights when you're just looking around and going, somebody said, oh, virtual Zeppelin, you're looking at stuff in Zeppelin, virtual Zeppelin, oh, what's that? Click. How bizarre, you know. So I actually then flew him in because I thought he was miming, and he sang in, you know, at my house in Florida. And then that was it. Once I got him, I was like, okay, fine, let's. I said to the Anna, I said, I've got a singer. They were like, who is he? I said, well, he's a totally unknown. And they were a little nervous. They were very nervous. I said, you know, a little. They were very nervous. They wanted backup guys just in case it didn't work out and just things. I said, this guy's the best guy for the job. You know, he really is. And the fact that he looks nothing like Robert and has nothing of that presence, for me, it was a benefit. You know, it was a bonus because I didn't want to go out there with a bunch of lookalikes and do that. So then we got to LA, and I said to my sister, you don't know any bass players, as she lives in LA, and she said, well, I know a few, try this guy. So next thing you know, Michael Devon came down, who since has joined me, has now got the Whitesnake gig, so I'm really pleased for him. And then I said, you don't happen to know a lap steel playing keyboard player that can play guitar as well, do you? He goes, I do, actually, which is a stranger to you, and he introduced me to Stephen LeBlanc, and then that was it, we were ready to go.
We're, I think, on show 14 out of 38.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you guys choose the songs? Like you're saying now, every set list is different for every night?
We tried to change it up. I started to read on the sites, you know, the fans, they post the website the night before, so the next fans know exactly what goes on. And I love doing the thing where then you change it and then they go, no, he didn't do that this night. Tonight he did this. Oh, I wish I'd have been there. So you just never know with us what we're planning. We hadn't planned to do a few different things, and we've added some things, taken some things out. But the production company just keeps saying, guys, you gotta, he's too long. And I'm like, you can't say Led Zeppelin's too long. There's too many, we're missing out too many songs to say it's too long. So, you know, it's one of those things.
Another project that if you haven't heard, you gotta hear it, you gotta pick this up, is Black Country Communion, and I'm gonna let Jason talk about this. How did this come together? How did the CD come together? How did the whole thing come together?
Black Country Communion is a brainchild of producer Kevin Shirley, who is like the fifth member really of the band. He called me. I'd worked with him before with Joe Bonamassa, and I'd worked with him with Healing Sixes, a project that I'd worked with before, and obviously he'd worked with Jimmy on the Led Zeppelin catalogue. So he called me and said, "Oh, I've got this idea about putting you and Glenn Hughes and Joe Bonamassa, Derek Sherinian, and we go and record like a classic rock album, no edits, just pure playing." And he said, "What's your schedule like?" And he said, "Can you give me 2 days in January?" I said, "I'm going to be in LA in January, so let's fix it in." So before I knew it, we'd done the 2 days and half the album was finished. Literally finished. It took 10 days from start to finish, mastered, mixed. So it's phenomenal. It's a jam album. It's got every element that you want in it. As somebody said to me once, it's so old sounding that it actually sounds new, which is, so it's so classic, it's fresh. I'm really pleased. As soon as I finish this, I've got 2 weeks off. Then I start rehearsals with Black Country Communion. We've got a few shows we're doing just before Christmas time, just after, one before Christmas time, and then a couple afterwards in England. And then we go back in the studio again in January, and we're going to do another album before we go out on the road. So when we tour, we'll have 2 albums. So
2 albums, probably have that one maybe out by spring, possibly, you think?
Well, we're hoping we'll release it in conjunction with the tour as well. So yeah, I mean, it's going great. I mean, that's one thing that really pleased me when it debuted. And the first week in America was 52, and in England it was 13. In about 30 other countries, it was in the top 30. I was like, wow, this is going great. So, and it couldn't happen at a better time for me. I always like to have something going alongside when I'm doing anything to do with Zeppelin. I never want anyone to think, I said, Zeppelin is virtually a part of my life, and it always will be. It's not all of my life, but it's a part of my life. And it just so happens that when this came out, it was good. I was pleased that we got the both things happening out there. Very proud of the album.
I know you just mentioned the tour, so can you tell us about the possible tour? Are we looking at next summer? Are we looking at U.S. dates, European? Do you have anything for us?
I don't have anything yet specific. I know we're in talks at the moment, doing a lot of, I think it will start off in the whole festival scene, hopefully in the US and in Europe. They have this kind of vision that they want to start it in a big way, rather than, in any other way. And I kind of like that idea of the fact that they want to make it, it's like this. Well, of course, it's this big, and I'm thinking, well, let's see what happens. The festivals could be good.
Now, this is the oblivious question. I know you get to ask this all the time, but I'm going to kind of ask it in a different way. That you say you go on the internet and you kind of see what's going on, especially in the Zeppelin camps. There was a recent interview that Robert Plant did, said that he recently said that he is, up to talking with the other guys about the possibility of doing something in the future. Did you read that interview? Do you know anything about that, or? I mean, is that just hearsay?
That's you guys not understanding Robert's sense of humor. That's him saying, can you believe it? I am thinking about talking to them. Do you understand that kind of play on words? It's like, I'm not even talking to them at the moment. It's kind of, that's how I know Robert. That's his sense of humor. I'm saying, I'm not even talking to the guys at the moment. I'm thinking of talking to them about talking. Yeah, so.
You have so much going on, obviously, and Robert's doing his own thing with his new solo album. I mean, it's just, there's so much other stuff going on that, it's just, I think this, I'm going to go back to, you guys got to hear this. You have to tour behind this. This is a fantastic CD. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Check this out, this Led Zeppelin experience. It's amazing. You told us about the images of your dad and playing to it. It's very emotional. There's a very connection with you and the fans. Is there anything else you could tell the fans that could expect from you going into 2011?
As of now, as I say, it's mainly going to be there's talks about taking this to Europe as well. The European fans are now going, well, how come you said you were going to do this? And I said, well, now I feel bad. It's like, why can't you bring it here? And you're like, well, I'm sorry, I know. And then, yeah, but what about here? So, you know, I just think of it like this: while it's going so well, and I'm willing to talk if there's to take it somewhere else. But you know, it's one of the priorities is for next year. I did commit to the Black Country thing, so we're going to be able to do both. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap up. BackstageAxxess.com. Thank you for talking to us, Jason. I appreciate it.